Well, hello there. It's me again from the poorly little room, and again we are using auto exposure, so there will probably be some dim lighting and stuff like that. I don't want to take it off for this video because I'm not going to talk that much. I hope so, anyway. But I did a really extensive, massive scientific study to see how much people really care about the community under Linux. Because if you talk to the good old fanboys, you know, the ones that know everything about everything, they are high intelligence of society, they are like, geniuses all around, don't have a job, don't have a girlfriend, stuff like that. But anyway, they are the smartest people in the world. They know more about Linux than Linus Torvalds. They say that one of the biggest strengths about Linux and one of the main reasons to use Linux is the community. So I did a poll. I probed the people. What do you think? So let's see what they are thinking. I will put it up over here so you guys can see it. And my extensive poll of 116 votes, which is it's the biggest voting poll in the world, apparently. It's bigger than any other voting or polls attendance that have ever been done on the internet, apparently. So I asked them, what matters more to you? Linux, and then the project's software around it, the Linux community. I just use it and I don't care. It's actually funny to me because 50% said they like Linux, the projects and the software around it. So I guess it's like the freedom aspect of it, the control of it, the open source of it, part of it and stuff like that. 45% they said I don't give a fuck, I just use it. You know, I just like using it. And 5% said that what mattered the most to them was the community out of these three here. Which is really funny because that's all people are talking about, almost. It's the community making Linux great, the community. And apparently this scientific study done with the most reliable means possible show that 95% don't care about the community. So we could conclude that most Linux users don't care about the community. So yeah, that's it, folks. See you later. No, don't. Let's boil this down a little bit. Let's be a little bit serious here. I was being sarcastic if you got that. 116 votes. It's not much, okay? And let's be honest, the people that will see this poll will probably mostly be my audience. And I have an opinion, and my content is reflecting that opinion about Linux and the community and how I look at Linux. So my viewers will probably also align with those philosophies, so else they will not like my content. It kind of makes sense. So it is highly skewed, okay? It's highly skewed. If you did this poll on, let's say, DistroTube's video, where he's all about the political aspect of it and the community, and he's fucking a nutcase with the two brain cells in a wheelchair that are fighting over which one is the smartest, the community will probably be 95% of the poll. So take this with a grain of salt. But I did suspect that it will be way higher in around my audience than it is right now. Even though that I'm a practiced guy, not practiced. What is it? Practical? Why can't I say that? Why can't I remember that word? I'm a practical guy. There you go. So I do look at the community and see what they are doing and stuff like that, but I don't really engage much with it other than here on my channel and my live streams. I don't really care that much what the community say, because here's the thing, the community can yell and scream, but mostly they don't do anything about it. You see all these kind of fucking YouTube videos being made about, oh, Manjaro is doing this fucking crazy thing and I hate it and blah, blah, blah. They don't go to the Manjaro people and say it. They don't go to the Manjaro forums. They don't go to, try to actually make their voice heard within the project. They just yell and scream and point fingers at it. And that's not how you get things done. It's the same with, oh, I hate Ubuntu and blah, blah, blah. Well, then get involved with Ubuntu and see if you can change the direction of what they're doing from within inside. But no, it's easy to just look and point fingers. And that's what the community is really good at. And of course, there's like the community is also the togetherness, the tribalism aspect of it and stuff like that. So I do get that people like the community, but I had suspected, and I do think this to some extent reflect the creator community, like the creator community of users, the creator Linux users. Because, again, like I said, if you ask DistroTube, his views will be skewed because he's a community guy, so his viewers will be a community view guy also, or girl for that matter. So, of course, that will be higher on their point. But I do suspect that if we took all of the Linux users, any aspect of Linux, for servers to fucking cave dwellers that are living in their mom's basement, are 40 years old, have never seen a fucking vagina in their life, I do suspect that the projects, the softwares, the licenses aspect of it and stuff like that will probably win, okay? And then I will kind of say it's a little bit 50-50 between the community and I don't care. Because when I hear people talk, I watch other people's videos, I read comments on forums and Reddits and stuff like that, people do talk a lot about the community. So I do suspect that it's higher than this. It will probably still be number 3 or 50-50 with the other one. But I honestly believe that most people care more about what Linux can do for them as a tool, what the software projects can do for them as an option tool or alternative to other operating systems. What benefits Linux and its projects and software around can give them in their life. And then the community could be an added bonus, or it's something that, it's actually nice that we have a really great, massive, diverse community that you can then dive into if you want, and also some nutcases in there if you want to go that route. And then there's people that are just like, hey, dude, I don't like Windows, I use Linux, or I just like nerd out with Linux, or hey, I use Linux for work. And they don't care about anything. They don't care about if it's open source, open source or closed source or free software, or if there's people on forums and shit like that. The only thing they care about is, can I do what I want with it? Can I use it for the things I want to use for it? And then I don't care about anything else. I'll probably say that will probably be number 2 as it is here, but I think that the community will be much higher if you ask every fucking user. But I will say this before I go. You hear a lot of people say that, especially the people that are really community-minded, they look at Linux and the projects as the community is the most important thing. So they are like, you see this a lot when they are giving feedback, and if the developers are not listening to them, they're like, why are you not listening to the community? You do know that the community make the project and so on and so on. And I always say this. There cannot be a community without the project. But there can be a project without the community. So which one is most important? The developers of let's just say, Notepad for Windows, Linux or something like that. Let's just say that if there is a group of people that want to develop that, they can do that and they can be the only, let's say, 5 people using that program. They can do that till till the end of days. If there is a community that like it, and there will be, and then there will be built up a community, or there could be building up a community around Notepad for Linux, and those 5 developers are still developing it. That would be nice. Now you have 2 things. But if the developers then say, okay, we don't want to develop anymore, where's the community? Then the community can fork it and stuff like that, but then it's not the same. A fork is not the same as the original. It's a clone to some extent. And a lot of times forks, they tend to not last that long because it's not the original developers, it's not following the original guidelines, and then, the fork takes creative liberties or creative ways, or go down creative roads that the original developers didn't do for some reason or another, that then make it not the same project. We see this all the time, that they started out as a fork of a project that died, and then within like 6 months it's not even look like the fucking project that it was so forked off. So yes, the community can fork it and then, maintain or try to maintain the same, the same ecosystem to some extent. But in the end, if the program or the software or what you will call it goes away, most likely the community will also go away. That's like the most logical outcome that will come, even if they fork it. There's another funny thing about forks, they don't tend to last that long. But if the community goes away, the project will still be going on. There will probably just not be that many using it. There will probably not be that many talking about it. You get what I'm saying here? But it can still be developed. No, the community will have no impact on other than they may not get that many box reports. They may not get, donations and stuff like that. But the project can still be going on. They can still, those 5 guys can still develop Notepad for Linux without the community. But the community cannot exist without Notepad for Linux or a fork of Notepad for Linux. So if you look at it like that, I would say that the project is way more important. Anyway, just a little bit of me stirring some shit. Don't take this too seriously. It's just, like I said, a really unscientific, honestly, poll I made. But I thought it was funny to see, to kind of gauge, you guys out there and see what you guys think. Do you agree with this poll here? Is it something that you will say, oh yeah, I actually agree with this? And if you are a subscriber of mine, you probably will. But if you're not a subscriber of mine, do you agree with this poll here? Or should it be the community number one or whatever? Give me some good argument. And don't be, an asshat and say, oh well, it's always the community because free and open source. Give me a good logical argument if you think it's I don't care, or if you think it's the community, or if you are thinking like 50% of those votes here that is the Linux and the projects. Give me a really good argument. Like, think about it like you have to present this argument to your professor for a PhD or something like that. You don't have to write out a fucking essay, but put the same thought into it. Because I see too many people just, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and they give me no fucking reference to it, or you're wrong, and yeah, okay, what am I wrong about, and why am I wrong? So put a little bit of thought effort into it, and let's see what's going on in the comment section. See you all later. Bye bye.